Welcome back, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and I have a very special video today. This is the first of many createaisims of my favorite sim, Becky, my comfort sim, whatever you want to call her. Now, before we really get deep into this createasim, I want to make a few things very clear. 1, Becky is not real. 2, Becky is literally a creation from my imagination when I was 12. 3, Becky started off as a science project. So I don't want any hate comments on why Becky looks the way she looks, okay? I know her proportions are unrealistic, and they're unrealistic intentionally. Becky has had a lot of work done, and Becky is very, very honest with the amount of work she's had done, okay? Becky, her hair, I don't know if her hair is naturally green or not. I've never really thought that far, because the original Becky, has purple hair. And now there is a few iterations of Becky in her late teen years, early 20s, where Becky has purple hair. But the Becky that is seen most regularly in my personal save files has green hair. Becky has green hair. So I don't think Becky's hair is natural. However, Becky is a top tier sim. And Becky doesn't have any kids in a majority of my gameplay. And she's typically a Simstagram influencer. She's typically a Simstagram model. And is very high up in the social media career. And has a best friend named Danica. Danica is so cool. And Danica moves in with Becky after her father's tragic passing. And they live in San Myshuno and are living it up in San Myshuno. Now, Becky. Becky is a woman of many talents, in all due honesty. A multitude of career paths in her life. Becky's just overall interesting, and I use her for a lot of things. And when I inevitably start doing mod reviews, the sim you're probably going to see me do mod reviews with is Becky. Becky is my favorite sim that I've ever made. And I use her for a lot of things. Like, new pack comes out, guess who's coming for the adventure? Becky. And Becky does have a very elaborate backstory with an entire family tree that I drew up one day when at school. It was like a Friday in like my English class because I was bored. So Becky does have a family. However, Becky doesn't talk to her family. Becky avidly does not talk to her family. And in my strange brain, she's actually named after her great aunt, and now that's only canon sometimes. But I eventually want to go through and make Becky's entire life and come up with an entire, like, make her entire life and make like a reality TV-esque let's play on Becky and her family. And Becky is a top tier sim. She's very interesting. And Becky is not actually very close with her family. And now, Becky's dad, dead, right out of the picture. Becky's dad is dead. And now, Becky's mom is very pushy and wanted her daughter to be an actress and carry on the family legacy. Becky said no. Becky was thrown out. Okay. And now Becky has other sisters. She has Karen, Carol, I think that's her name. I don't remember one of them. But her youngest sister, who Becky is actually close to, because her younger sister also did not want to be an actress or anything. Her name is Crystal Meth. I wish I was kidding. But like I said, I was 12. And like, I was 12, so Becky has a sister. Yeah, her youngest sister's name is literally Crystal Meth. Crystal Meth Bardashian. And, yeah. Becky also has a gap in her teeth. And now Becky's heavily inspired by a few celebrities when it comes to looks. Like, I definitely took aesthetics from, like, a few people when it came to looks. But, I feel like she kind of has, like a similar face to Melanie Martinez, and I love that for her because I was heavily obsessed with Melanie Martinez when I made Becky as a science project. Like, I still very much love Melanie Martinez, but K-12 came out when I was in, like, 6th grade, I think. 6th or 7th grade, whenever I made Becky. And Becky also has a septum. like, I feel like that's not a very, like, elaborate detail, but Becky has a septum. It's like a little septum. She got it done when she was, like, 20-something, and she just stuck with it. Now, it's not canon that Becky has any kids, but occasionally she does have a daughter with her, very uber-wealthy athlete husband. Becky does not like children. She doesn't have the trait hates children or anything, but I just feel like it's very canon that Becky's, like, wants to have fun. Becky's here for a good time, not a long one. I feel like that's very much a quote Becky lives by. I don't know. She's very, like, very, very, like, big sim in my Sims Let's Play. And my grandparents avidly know who Becky is. So if you don't know, or if this is your first time watching me, or you don't watch me regularly, you wouldn't know. But a lot of the Sim stuff that I post on YouTube, my grandparents see first. And I know you're probably like, oh my god, but all your Sims, they wear little to no clothing. Yeah, they don't want me to dress like that, but my Sims can dress it whatever they want. You're probably concerned as to why my grandparents are overseeing my Simming, but they really like my Sims. And they keep asking me why I don't put Becky up on the YouTubes. So they're kind of older, so they don't really understand how it works. But they like that I make Sims. And I talk to myself while I make Sims. And I have to explain to them, oh no, I'm filming a YouTube video. But, they really like Becky, and they wanted to know why I haven't uploaded Becky. So I'm uploading Becky, because they keep asking me when I'm going to upload her. Because they think the internet will really like Becky. And now I want to say the internet will really like Becky. But in all due honesty, Becky, I don't think Becky is very likable to the general public. I make Becky, but at the end of the day, Becky was a science project, mind you. Okay, I want to get into this, about Becky being a science project. Becky was a science project for, like, pungent squares. You would do a drawing of, like, the parent. Becky was the mom, and then I made some, like, green goblin-looking guy for the father. Anyways, that's not the point. Becky started off as a science project for a teacher who absolutely hated me. His name was Mr. Dalton. He sucked a lot. He was incredibly racist for no reason. And now, he never called anyone racial slurs, but he had a lot of, like, racist undertones. I think that's how you say it. But he would, like, openly say racist things, that, like, black and brown people were poor because they were late. He, like, avidly talked about negative stereotypes, and, I used to always call him out on that, because you can't talk to people like that. Like, that is very, very bad to talk to people like that, and he really sucked. And I got kicked out of his class a lot, and sent to another teacher who was an absolute godsend. He was great. His name was Mr. Ayers. I learned a lot from that man. And he told me that if I ever ran for president, I would have his vote, because I was a force to be reckoned with, and I am a Mr. Ayers stan. Now, I don't know what happened to him, because he moved to, like, Colorado, I think, but he was a good teacher. Dalton was not a good teacher. I had him for 2 years. I had him in 7th and 8th grade, and, like, you really have to be, like, a bad teacher for me to remember you being a bad teacher. Because I can literally go through an entire list of all the teachers I've had throughout my, like, years of schooling. Like, I'm about to graduate high school. But the teacher was so bad that I literally remember him. It's been, like, 5 years since I was in his classroom. And I still remember him. In all due honesty, I still remember him. And all, like, the hurtful things he said. Now, did they personally hurt me? No. But there was this one kid. And, he literally, this kid had, like, I don't know what you would call it, but he had, like, some sort of attentive disorder. I don't know if it was ADD or ADHD. Either way, he couldn't focus and regulate his emotions really well. And he would get incredibly upset and rage-filled. And this teacher would literally make this kid have meltdowns. He would make this kid have meltdowns for no reason, other than he thought it was funny. Like, he would literally have this kid, right, literally have a meltdown in front of the whole class because he thought it was funny. Yeah, that teacher sucked a lot. And he also, he was so, like, awfully racist. And I would come home and I'd tell my family about him, because I'd get kicked out of class, they'd call the teacher because I'd get written up, so they'd call home. So I had to explain to my family, and I eventually did get recordings of him being racist and having, like, these like, fits of racism. I think that's the best way to describe what he would do. But I eventually, like, recorded it, got it on, like, a voice recording. Showed it to my family. They took it to the school board. School board did nothing. But anyways, after that, whenever he'd have these, I didn't even bother recording it anymore. But whenever he would have these, I would like not be in trouble at home for like standing up for everyone, because it's wrong to think like that. It's really wrong to think like that. And Dalton as a whole sucked. Public school as a whole sucked for me for countless reasons. But Dalton did not make my time at public school easier. And you know what? It still, like, lingers. Like, he sucked. I think he got fired eventually. But he doesn't work there anymore. But he really did suck. He sucked a lot. And no one would call him out on how much he sucked. Like, a couple of the other teachers were in cahoots with him. Another thing I'd like to add about how much this teacher sucked, he would suck so much and say all those harmful things, kick me out of his class, interrupt my learning time because he wanted to go on racist rants. Oh, I feel like that's a better thing to call it. Instead of, like, racist temper fits, it's racist rants, in all due honesty. But, after he would go on his racist rant, he would get called out and stop or kick whoever called him out. It wasn't just me calling him out, it was several other kids, and he would just kick us all out. He would say all these awful things towards me, but then when parent-teacher conferences and stuff like that would roll around, I was literally his best student. He had nothing but good things to say about me. I had several teachers like that, like my math teacher, Miss Schwackert. Oh, she sucked. She would scream at me. I literally got into so many arguments with that teacher. She sucked so much. She literally did. But then at parent-teacher conferences, nothing but good things to say about Lena. How smart Lena is. How good Lena is at school. How helpful Lena is. How Lena's just a pleasure to have in class. How much she loves having Lena in her class. I had so many teachers like that. But they were awful to me when it came down to it. They were literally awful to me. I've had a lot of good teachers. Like, I've had several good teachers. But I have had an unnecessary amount of bad teachers in my academic career. For literally no reason. And, like, I have a math teacher right now, and he's, like, pretty cool, right? He's super cool. However, this man, the way he explains math, oh my god, bro, I wish, I had a project. I've had him for, like, the last 2 years, you know? I've had him for other things, and he teaches those exponentially well, right? Had him for math. Went to, like, the office hours and help labs, because I do online school, for context, this matters. I went to the office hours, right? Which are where you go in and you get, like, help on stuff. Mind you, the project wasn't due for, like, 2-3 more weeks. This is about a year ago at this point. But anyways, went in there, right? Was like, oh, well, how do you do this, mister? And he was like, oh, well, I can't tell you, right? And I get that because it's like a project at the end of the day. You can't help me too much. I was like, well, can you tell me what lessons I can reference so I can go back and do it, right? And he was literally like, oh, no, well, I can just give you a little bit of help here in the breakout room, right? So he's, like, helping me in the breakout room, and I was like, oh, well, would this be the answer? Would the answer not be this? He's like, I don't know, Lena, do you think that's the answer? Obviously not. That's why I'm at the breakout rooms. That's literally why I'm at your tutoring. Because if I thought that was the answer, and I thought I knew how to do this, I would not be attending the help sessions. I don't know, school is literally such a wild ride for me, and I'm very, like, academically, like, talented and gifted and all that good fun stuff. So I basically had to call, like, because I do concurrent enrollment classes, which are basically college classes in high school, if you don't know. I did those. And I noticed that my class hasn't started yet, even though the start date was supposed to be, like, last Monday. And so I had to call the college, and I was literally on hold. I was on hold for, like, an hour. And I hate talking on the phone in all due honesty. What you think is, you're like, that's pretty ironic considering you make YouTube videos. But it's one thing to literally sit in the room and talk to myself for hours on end than it is to literally talk to another person. And then they couldn't find my information because they asked for the student ID and I gave them the college student ID when I needed to give them the high school student ID for the third-party billing. Yeah. I got that all figured out, though. So that starts soon, which is pretty easy. The college class is pretty easy. It's not too hard. But that's not the point. The point is, school is hard sometimes. And if you feel bad about your school being hard, don't. Because school is hard sometimes. That's what you can take away from this. Sometimes people suck, and sometimes school is hard. Life lessons with Lena. That should be an entire segment, life lessons with Lena. Because I've only lived barely 17 years, but I can give you lots of advice on life. And you know what? I feel like that's a good thing. I don't know. I've been doing lots of research on a lot of stuff because I want to get back into coding because I can code. Like, The Sims has genuinely taught me so much computer knowledge and basic coding, and I also was really interested in coding when I was, like, 9 and 10, so I can code very basic, like, point-and-click games. Like, I can code very basic, but I wanted to better refine that coding skill, you know? It just seems like such a fun thing to do, just to refine the coding skill. I don't know. I'm trying to pick up more hobbies, because currently I play Sims for 10 hours a day whenever I can. Like, if I have 10 spare hours a day, or I have a day where I'm not doing anything, I'm going to spend it on The Sims. And that can't possibly be good for me. Literally, it possibly can be making me delusional. Speaking of being delusional, it's the new year, you know, new month. We're only a couple weeks into the new year, maybe even just 2. Speaking of being delusional, be delusional. Make yourself that vision board. Make a vision board, guys. I'm telling you. I make a vision board, and I've been doing it for the last couple of years. Make a vision board. Literally make that vision board. Vision boards are so good. I literally made a vision board. Right. Last year I made it, and I didn't really look at it. I would, like, look at it whenever I was, like, feeling down or I needed some, like, motivation. Right? And, you know, I accomplished a few things on the vision board. But this year, I literally made it my Chrome screen. So whenever I open a new Chrome tab, boom, vision board. Vision board. Make your vision board. Be delusional. But don't actually be delusional. Be delusional to some extent. Make your vision board filled with your delusional thoughts. That's better. Make your vision board filled with your delusional thoughts. And if you don't know what a vision board is, look it up on Pinterest. And if you're not using Pinterest, you should. And you should also follow me on Pinterest, because I reblog a lot of CC on there. You might see something on my sim and be like, oh my god, that's so cute. And if it's not linked in the description, which sometimes my simsCC is linked in the description, but if it's not, you might be like, oh my god, that's so cute. Where did she find it? It's on my Pinterest or it's on my Tumblr. But my Tumblr and Pinterest are basically the same thing. But you should still follow both of them because we're friends. You should follow me because we're friends. And if you don't think we're friends, you should follow me anyways. Because if we're not friends, you're obviously a hater. And my haters love to see what I'm doing. Now, I don't have haters because I do YouTube. I have literal people who despise my entire being in real life for no reason. For no reason. No reason other than I had nice things growing up. And I wish I could say that I was like some spoiled brat who rubbed it in people's faces. That I had nice things. But no, there are genuinely people who despise my existence because I exist. They despise me because I exist. And I wish I could say that I'm a mean, bad person who deserves people to despise them. And, you know, I'm not saying I probably don't deserve to be despised. But at the end of the day, I don't think I did anything to these people. And if I did, that was, like, very minimal, petty stuff 5 or 6 years ago. And if they're still holding on to that, that makes them a bad person. Because if you're mad that, like, you thought I stole your lead pencil in 6th grade and you despise me, like, 6 years later, that's literally showing what kind of person you are. Anyways. This has been a very tangent-filled video. But you guys should make your vision boards. And if you make a vision board, you should tweet it at me. Because I have learned how to use Twitter. Guys, I've made a breakthrough. I have learned how to use Twitter. Woo, applause! I would put a sound effect there, but I'm not going to. But I have learned how to use Twitter, and I understand how it works, and I've been engaging with the Sims community on Twitter. And some of my favorite creators have, like, liked and responded to my comments, and, like, commented on my tweets and responded to my tweets, and it's such a fun environment. Sometimes you stumble across very disgusting stuff on Twitter regarding The Sims. But if you just block that and ignore it, it goes away. Anyways, if you're not following me on Sims Twitter, you should. It's linked. Literally all this stuff is linked. You can go to the description and find so many fun links. And you know what? You might even learn something. Because you feel like, oh, why have you posted a video in, like, a long time? You can literally find out why typically on my TikTok or my Twitter. You guys should follow me. You definitely should follow me, though. I don't know. I've been doing a lot of stuff. And I did make a day in the life TikTok, which I will not be providing the link currently. But I haven't been very consistent on it because I I don't know. I don't even know why I made it. I guess I made it to, like, motivate myself or some other reason like that. I don't know. I don't really use stuff like that. Like, I want to say that I'm, like, a big TikTok star, big TikTok celebrity, but I don't post TikToks. And now, back when TikTok was Musical.ly, oh, I was posting every single day, 6-7 times a day. And now, this was back in 2016, right? And I had almost 1,000 followers on my Musical.ly account. Like, I had almost 1,000 followers, which was a lot back then. Like, to be, like, a world-renowned internet celebrity, you just had to have, like, 100,000. Like, on anything. But on Musical.ly, I had almost 1,000 followers, and I don't know what happened to the password to that account. It's gone. It's a gone account. But, yeah, I posted a lot of Musical.lys, and I have some of them saved to an old phone, and they're very cringy. And also, speaking of Musical.ly, you know how I've, like, talked about in videos how I was being bullied, and I didn't realize I was being bullied? There was an entire hashtag called I Hate Lena on Musical.ly, and I want to say that I'm kidding, and this is like a haha funny joke. I want to be relatable. But it was made by several kids. And one kid started it, and I was literally in Family Dollar buying Shopkins. Okay? I opened my phone because I had gotten a notification that I had been tagged in something. And, like, it's 2016. You don't get tagged and stuff. Or at least I didn't. And it was literally a kid making fun of my Musical.lys and being like, I hate Lena. I've always hated her. And that genuinely hurt my feelings. Now, I got older, and I inevitably, like, eventually ended up getting seated next to that kid and befriending that kid. But at the end of the day, it kind of hurt my feelings that he was like, I hate Lena. I've always hated her. When I literally did nothing to this kid. It was such a completely random thing to literally say. Like, it was so out of nowhere. It wasn't like I insulted this kid or did anything to this kid. This kid wasn't even in my class. Like, I was in about 4th grade, okay? We didn't even talk. We weren't even in the same social circles. I didn't even see this kid at recess. Like, he was over there playing kickball. Like, by this point, I was not on the field playing with the boys anymore. I was literally on the playground playing with the swings and playing Pretty Princess. Well, that's not true. I was not playing Pretty Princess, but I was, like, on the swings, or I was, like, tight roping. I was, like, literally walking on these black things around the playground. But this kid, out of nowhere, at, like, 7 p.m., I know you're probably like, why were you at Family Dollar on 7 p.m.? This was after my karate practice. So I'm all sweaty and gross. Just done with karate. Went to the store to pick up some stuff, right? Had just gotten my allowance. Wanted to buy Shopkins. Bought my Shopkins. And while I'm in line getting checked out, I get tagged in a video. And it's a kid saying, I hate Lena. I've always hated her. Bro, I didn't do anything to you. I was like 9 or 10. I didn't do anything to you. Like, I had very minimally talked to this kid. And then this kid, his name was Sean. I don't know whatever happened to Sean, but his name was Sean. And then some of my other friends made videos mocking him. Well, these kids weren't even my friends. It was just, like, other kids in the grade that made videos mocking him. But that's not the point. This kid literally made an entire TikTok, like, hashtag. Well, it wasn't even called a hashtag back then. It was called a party. And you could, like, make parties. And I don't know how to describe it. It's similar to the Q&A box now, but it was with parties. And you can, like, that kid, like, it was, it was kind of like the questions and answers box, but it was different. Like, you could add, like, a video. I don't know how to explain it, but it was called a party. And this kid made an entire, like, party hashtag thing called I Hate Lena. Like, I was like 9. Why did I have haters at 9? Like, why were you hating on me at 9? I was 9. I don't know. Sometimes people are weird. I don't know whatever happened to that kid. He moved after, like, 6th grade. He moved. I don't know where he moved to, but one time his mom brought in, like, Dunkin' Donut holes for, like, his birthday. I don't know. That kid, I don't know. He was a strange kid. He bullied me, though. There's a lot of kids that relentlessly bullied me, but I didn't realize I was being bullied. And the only reason I knew that kid was like bullying me with his I hate Lena hashtag because I thought it was funny. Was when like a counselor overheard me telling some other kids about it, and she like pulled me into her office and she asked me if I wanted to file like a cyberbullying thing. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, you're being bullied online. I was like, no, I'm not. It's just a joke. It was not just a joke. That kid meant he hated Lena. I don't know. Schools have been wild for me. Like, it was like an entire hashtag of how much he hated me. It was an entire hashtag, bro. He was like, I hate Lena. I've always hated her. Mind you, we were in 4th grade, so at this point, I'd only known these kids about 4 years. Right? I had only known these kids a very short amount of time. And this kid wasn't even in my class. Like, yeah, we were in class from, like, kinder, 1st, 2nd. We weren't even in the same 2nd grade class. 3rd and 4th grade class. I had not been in this kid's class for 2 years. And he had the audacity to say he hated Lena. For what? I don't know. I just think that's kind of funny. That this kid literally had beef with me. It was, like, one-sided beef, too. A lot of people that have had, like, issues with me in the past it's been one-sided. But I just think it's so ridiculous. I don't know. A lot of people probably deal with, like, a lot more explicit bullying, but I was just one of those kids who it didn't occur to me that people meant mean things with ill intent, and I would just kind of laugh it off. Like, not even like a ha ha ha, that kind of hurt my feelings. I would literally laugh it off like it was a joke. Like, these children were comedians. I almost got into a fight one time with a kid because I laughed in his face when he called me a mean name. Literally laughed in his face. Because I thought it was a joke. It was not a joke. Maybe that's poor perception on my part, but I literally thought it was a joke. It was not a joke. The kid was dead serious. It was never a joke. I don't know. Sometimes I get hate comments, and I just delete them because I don't know whether the person is, like, making a joke or they're trying to hurt my feelings. But, like, I'm a very, very small channel. Like, very, very small channel, and I'm getting hate comments. But I just delete them. Because I don't know if they're, like, meant to hurt my feelings or not. But anyways, the end of this is coming up. And a few things you can take away is just be nice to people. And never say anything to anyone with the intent it could hurt their feelings. Like, if you say something to someone, you should never mean it to hurt their feelings. Because that's not very good. But anyways, this video is wrapping up. I'm giving Becky nails. I hope you actually paid attention to my making of Becky. And I hope you have the best rest of your day and do something valuable with your time.